The following video has been rated PG-13 for, it's pretty good, if you're 13. Splorin!
In this rather unassuming little shopping center, next to this unassuming gym that I don't see enough of, is this bright red arcade sign. Right through these doors is tonight's entertainment. Hey folks, been a long time since the last time we did an update. Things have been a little crazy right now, but I got out for a little bit tonight with the boy, building fun with Ian. Tonight we're at Arcade Monsters in Oviedo. It's a retro video game, all you can eat, if you will. Join us tonight as we do just a little Splorin. It's Arcade Monsters. It's in Oviedo, Florida, which is right up the street from the pinball lounge that we did on an old episode of Splorin. You may have seen it. If not, you could definitely reach down to the name of the channel down below and find it there. But this is new. This has only been open for a few weeks, and it's pretty cool. It's a retro video game arcade, which means that all the games in here are well, they're from when I actually cared about playing video games all the time. My son's here with me. He's younger. He's never seen most of these games before, and he's having a blast. I'm having a blast. Everything in here is pure 80s and 90s nostalgia. There's actually a little bit of 70s in here too. And I figure today we'll show you around, give you a little taste of what Arcade Monsters is all about. My son is 8, so of course he gravitated towards Fix-It Felix Jr., which, as most of the older crowd will know, is not a real arcade game from the 80s. I mean, it's a real arcade game, but it's false retro, if you will. Still, on either side of it, Donkey Kong Jr. and Popeye, which are the real McCoy. I'm pretty sure in Wreck-It Ralph they did root beer instead of Budweiser, but you know, you still get the idea. I actually don't remember this one. Apparently it's the real Castlevania. Because of the retro theme, there's a lot of 80s music that's blaring, especially when you go into the other room. Yes, there are two rooms here. Makes it a little difficult for me to go in there and film because, well, if the outfield is on, which they are right now, this video can be taken down for copyright reasons, even though I haven't monetized it. So if I start rambling over music, that's why. My boy's playing Donkey Kong. Yes, I did something right. Now, you and I, of course, know him as Mario, but this is from Donkey Kong, which means that this isn't Mario yet. This is Jumpman. And up there is Pauline. Taking things upstairs, this is a little lounge area that they got set up. There's really only 2 arcade machines up here. The rest of it is home systems. You got the Super Nintendo Classic, you got the Nintendo Classic, you've got the whatever that thing is. I'm old. It does afford you one heck of a view of the bottom level of this place. And for those of you who remember what Friday nights were like at Pizza Hut back in the 80s and 90s, yes, they have the arcade bar tops. Now this I like. Keith Apicary? They've got some good pinball machines in here too. Monopoly, Party Zone, Ghostbusters, which has been an old favorite of mine, the Batman 1969 machine, Revenge from Mars, and Monster Bash. And for those of you looking for just a little bit more frustration in your life, I give you Dragon's Lair. I'm gonna have to check with Adventures by George, but I'm pretty sure that this is not how Atari works. This one is from my very early years, Karate Champ. Not the greatest graphics generally. To get your 90s fix, they've got Killer Instinct 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4, possibly 5, nope, 5 versions of Street Fighter in here. 2 versions of Mortal Kombat, but, you know, don't let your mom see you playing this. Right over here, the NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Now, for those of you that kind of came to age in the 90s like I did, how many of you remember the hack where you can make your head real big? If you remember the hack itself and what you need to do to make your head big in NBA Jam, reach down below in the comment section. Let me know what you do. Might come back up here and do it. My son has discovered the hockey machine. I used to play this one when I'd go to Chuck E. Cheese's back in the 80s. I haven't seen one of these things, operationally speaking at least, in years. A little personal history. This was always my favorite arcade game growing up. This is the Simpsons Arcade game from the early 90s. Not long after the show first debuted, this arcade game came out, and honestly, it's just a reskin of games like X-Men and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But, I don't know, there's just something about hitting people with a vacuum cleaner that always spoke to me. When this one came out, I was, I don't know, maybe 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that. And I spent a lot of allowance money on Simpsons. And it's really cool to see it back. With your games like Tekken, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat ruling the 90s, Killer Instinct sometimes gets forgotten fairly easily, which is kind of a shame, because this game had something that the rest of them didn't have. And that was a free soundtrack CD for the Super Nintendo version of this thing. Most of the music was decent techno if you're in the techno, but I always liked the Saberwolf one, which was sort of like a gothy, classical rock ballad, if you will, for the werewolf character. If you remember what I'm talking about, let me know below. More than just an arcade, of course. They've got a whole bunch of retro stuff, like candy and comic books to buy. That'd be right over here. Bunch of Funko Pop things. Some 90s X-Men action figures and comic books. Something called Kendra. I'm not sure what that's all about. Bunch of candy and playing cards, collectible cards actually. New Kids, Batman cards, I used to have those. Garbage Pail Kids, The Simpsons, Addams Family. But of course the most important thing is right over here, candy cigarettes. So you can buy some candy cigarettes and play Mortal Kombat and just really get your mom irritated. Taking things back to my favorite classic game, which is Rampage. Now this is not Rampage, the classic version. This is the newer version of Rampage, Rampage World Tour, which is still pretty awesome, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of the classics. Fun fact, if you go back and watch the Splorin episode that was taken in 2018 from Free Play Florida, you can actually watch me punch Brian Kahn, the inventor of Rampage, in the face. Go give it a look. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. It's Arcade Monsters. It's a retro arcade. It's pay one price, play all day. It's Sunday when I'm recording this. They're open till 2 a.m., so I mean, it just goes to show you, you could be here literally all day. And for between $11 and $15, depending on what category you fall into, you can come in here and play all day. It's a little off the beaten path. If you're coming to Orlando as a tourist, chances are you're not going to come in here. This is something that is definitely made for the locals. It's Arcade Monsters in Oviedo. Give it a look if you're out here. Subscribe below, hit that bell, and we'll see you next time when we do just a little exploring.